Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Vickie's Country Home. It's been a busy day, and sometimes, especially when it's cool like this, I like to have breakfast for dinner. Or, as Mrs. Lori would call it, supper. It's funny because I grew up calling it that too, but I've lived in different parts of the country, and you tend to pick up whatever it's called where you're at. And out here it's called dinner, but it's also supper. But we're gonna have breakfast. So today I'm gonna make something that I grew up eating for breakfast a lot. And we call them breakfast tacos. Some of you will argue and call them breakfast burritos. It really doesn't matter. It's all the same thing. Let's make breakfast tacos. Now you can put just about anything you want into a breakfast taco or burrito. In this case, one of my favorites is potato, onion, egg, and bacon. And before anybody says a word, I am going to use some of my home canned bacon. And no, there is no approved recipe for that. So use your own judgment, and if you choose to can bacon, then go right ahead. I love it for things like this. I don't can it in strips. I can chunks, ends and pieces, whatever I can find that's a good price for good quality. And I'm so confident of it. This is my last jar from 2012. We've been eating this for quite a while because I had a freezer failure back that time, and I got it all canned instead of losing it. But we've been eating on this, continue to eat on it, but this is the last one that's that old. So I'm going to use my home canned bacon. I like to use these shredded dehydrated hash browns. Now you can cut up your own potatoes, and that's what I used to do, and I still do sometimes, but these are so convenient and so fast. That's what I'm going to use tonight. And then I'm going to use some of my eggs from my girls that are a little confused right now. None of my hens are under a year old. In fact, they're all year old, 3 months, up to several years old. This is what we're getting out of them. This is a monster. I just think, ow, it's crazy. But at the same time, we're getting these little bitty eggs. And normally, if you've got hens that are new to laying, you'll see some of this. Ours aren't. They're just very confused. So you can't put this in an egg carton. It doesn't fit. So I'm going to use this giant, which I'm guessing is a double yolker. I'm going to use this little bitty one. And also some other small ones, and save the more regular large size ones for other purposes. So I'm going to get this rehydrating. I'm going to start browning up this bacon and chopping up an onion. So I'll bring you right back. So I was just going to show you that this still has a good seal. And when I open any of my canned goods, I listen for that hiss, and I did hear it. It smells fine. The top gets dried up, but this was like this from the beginning, so I'm not worried about it. But it smells wonderful. I know it had a good seal, and so I'm going to fry this up. And there's nothing easier. You scrape it with a rubber spatula into your frying pan, let it brown, and reduce the liquid that cooks out, and you'll be left with small bacon bits and bacon fat that you can use, or throw away whatever you choose. Alright, I have my cast iron skillet just getting warmed up. And I'm just gonna ease that out of the jar and kind of break it up a little. And I want to get all of that good bacon grease out of there. So I just keep breaking it up. But I buy bacon ends in pieces when I can it up because the strips sort of will hold their shape if you're really, really careful. But the way I look at it, if I want bacon strips, I'll cook them fresh. This is what I use for cooking with. And it doesn't matter what shape they're in, so I buy, I think it's 3-pound package of the bacon ends in pieces. And I use that to can. So I'm going to let this render down. I'm going to let it brown up. And then I'll take it out and drain it while I get everything else prepared. So I'll bring you back in a few minutes. All right, the bacon, I don't know, it's been about 10 minutes or so. And it is cooked. It was already cooked. It cooks in the jar, but it's nice and browned. And so I'm just going to drain it. Turn the heat off while I'm doing this so it doesn't get too brown. And again, this is from 2012. And I'm going to take a taste. It's delicious. It tastes just like it would if it were just canned or just cooked. Now, I don't recommend keeping it that long. But again, that was one of those where the freezer started to defrost. And rather than lose it all, I got it in jars and canned it. And it is really delicious. So now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to leave this, I think I'll take a little bit of the bacon fat out before I start cooking the onions and potatoes. And this is my favorite cast iron frying pan. I found this at a yard sale recently this summer. And it was pretty rough shape. But I have totally stripped it using lye. And then I re-seasoned it. And it is wonderful. I love cooking in it. It's probably an older Lodge. I'm not sure how old, but it doesn't have the rough surface that all the new ones seem to have. Now I've got half of an onion, and I've just got it cut in strips like that. And it really doesn't matter because it's going to cook down. But I just think this is better size than chopping it up really small. And I'm just going to get this started. In the meantime, my hash browns have been sitting in hot water up to the fill line. And I'm going to drain off any excess water. And there wasn't much, maybe a 1/4 cup, if that much. but I really love using these. They're just so convenient. They're ready to go whenever you want to use them. It says it takes 12 minutes to rehydrate. I've had mine just a few minutes longer because I was cooking the bacon. And for those who aren't used to cooking in cast iron, you don't want to cook over super high heat. I've got mine just barely below medium. But it holds heat so well that it just cooks wonderfully. So now I'm just going to pour out these hash browns. So I'm just going to spread these out. And I'm going to, of course, add some garlic, granulated garlic, because you just have to. And I'm going to put in coarse ground black pepper, or you could freshly grind it. I'm being lazy tonight. And again, it's all to taste, so however you like it is fine. And this is garlic salt, but it's light, so I'm just going to put some of that. And now we're just going to let these brown and turn them and get them just kind of golden brown as much as possible. So I'll bring you back when that's done. Alright, while I've got the potatoes and onions cooking, I'm cracking open the eggs. And I've got the 4 smaller eggs done. Now I'm going to do this little bitty one. Boy, it's a hard shell too. It doesn't want to come apart. Well, maybe we're not going to use that egg because it just doesn't want to come out. Okay, now we're going to do King Kong. This thing is huge. Look, it's almost the size, it's as long as my fingers. Fills my palm. Here goes. Double yolk. That thing was huge. I kind of was hoping it would be one of those that had a shell within a shell, but it didn't. But there we go. That's going to be for supper, dinner, whatever you want to call it. Alright, so I've got my hash browns lightly browned, and you could do it more if you want. It really doesn't matter. And I have my eggs scrambled, and I added garlic, salt, pepper, and a little more granulated garlic because you can never have too much garlic. I'm pretty sure that's a cooking rule, and if not, it should be. So I just moved the hash browns over. I'm going to cook this right next to it. We're just going to get this scrambled and then we'll mix everything together. Alright, the egg is cooked through. Now we're just going to mix everything up. I'm going to scrape up some of that good stuff off the bottom because it just tastes so good. Now we're going to add back all of that yummy bacon. That may not look like much, but oh, it is so tasty. So now I'm going to go and heat up some flour tortillas on the comal, my little griddle, and then we're going to come back and make us a breakfast taco. Okay, I've got my tortilla heated up, and I just like so much better. I like using a griddle or a comal to heat the tortillas. It's not the same to put them in the microwave. I just don't do it. So we're just going to put a healthy amount in the middle. And I'm adding some of my home canned salsa. And isn't that pretty? Okay, I got it smells so good, my breakfast taco for supper, dinner, whatever you want to call it, it's the same thing. And I don't roll it up, that's what you do with a burrito, but with a taco you just fold it in half. It's so good. It's so garlicky, which is what we love. And this is just nice, filling comfort food. Thank you for watching Vickie's Country Home. And I hope you give these a try. They're so easy, but so good. If you enjoyed this, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share it with your friends. And as always, God bless, and we will talk again soon.